DOJ official Bruce Ohr will testify on Capitol Hill behind closed doors. Fox News chief intelligence correspondent Catherine Herridge has a full report from Washington. Catherine.
Sean, Tuesday's interview behind closed doors will focus on Ohr's decision to share information with the FBI from the former British spy Christopher Steele, after Steele was fired by the Bureau as a source. Investigators tell Fox News they also question whether the FBI knew about Steele's hatred of candidate Trump, as well as his briefings to the media about the Trump dossier. And if that's true, why the Bureau still used Steele's unverified research to secure a surveillance warrant on a Trump campaign aide. Russia was not part of Ohr's official Justice Department job. Investigators are also drilling down on Ohr and Steele's relationship with Glenn Simpson, whose firm Fusion GPS was paid by the DNC in Clinton campaign. Simpson employed Ohr's wife. Today, a House Republican explained their strategy and leveled serious allegations.
Well, we want him to confirm what we already know from hard evidence, that he and his wife were part of a conspiracy to, in fact, create this narrative of involvement and wrongdoing by the president relative to the Russians. So we have a lot of evidence. Now the question is, can we get him to confirm the evidence, or will he deny the truth right before us in writing?
2017 text messages obtained by Fox suggest Steele also asked Ohr to be his go-between with the special counsel Robert Mueller's team. A spokesman for Mueller declined to comment, and the DOJ had nothing to add, Sean.
All right, Catherine, thank you. And joining us now with reaction, author of another bestseller, The Case Against Impeaching Donald Trump, Harvard Law School professor Alan Dershowitz, and Fox News contributor Andy McCarthy. You know, I watched you out there, Professor and Andy. I watched you both last week, and it was great hysteria as the Manafort verdict came in and Michael Cohen's plea deal came in, and great speculation. Lanny Davis has backed off a lot of his comments, which is pretty fascinating. And Professor Dershowitz, you kept saying, this isn't even jaywalking as it relates to the president. Can you explain to America's dumb pundit lawyer class why you're right and they're so wrong?
Well, first, I completely understand why people are so anxious to try to find crimes against Trump, but you just can't make it up. You have to look at the rule of law. And if you look at the statute says that a candidate can contribute any amount of money he wants to his own campaign. And President Trump has said the money came from him personally. Also, there's an obligation to report, but the reporting obligation is on the treasurer of the campaign, not the candidate himself. So unless new evidence develops, I see no indication of any criminal violation of any of the campaign finance statutes. If there are any, let's hear, where's the beef? Where's the statute? Show me, point to me where the violation occurs. I know why people hope there's a violation, but hope can't substitute for reality.
Andy, I'd love for you to weigh in on this, and you come at this from a different point of view. 20 years in the Southern District of New York. Your track record is impeccable. I actually got to interview John Sayles, a former colleague of yours. He's brilliant. He's on your page. Rudy's obviously on your page. Where are the crimes here? You know, where?
Well, Sean, I think in the context particularly of the president, what is relevant here, especially because what we're talking about, given the Justice Department guidance, is impeachment, not indictment. The history of this set of statutes that Professor Dershowitz just referred to is that the two government agencies that are primarily responsible for enforcing them have come to contradictory conclusions about what a crime is. So you have, in the John Edwards case back about 5-6 years ago, you had the Federal Election Commission saying that these kinds of payments were not in-kind political contributions, and then the Justice Department turns around and indicts him on 6 felony counts, a case that the judge lets it go to the jury, but it ends in disaster for the Justice Department. 1 acquitted count and 5 hung jury counts. And my only point is, if the two agencies of government that are primarily responsible for enforcement can't even agree on what a crime is, how can you conceivably have a high crime?
I don't look. I've known Lanny for a lot of years. I like Lanny. I know Lanny loves the Clintons. He and I agree to disagree, but he said things that he had to back off of, you know, that were really important. My client says that the president knew about the infamous meeting at Trump Tower. The words in the plea agreement, Professor Dershowitz, with Michael Cohen at the direction of the president, that's all contradicted by even Michael Cohen's testimony before congressional committees.
But it's so confusing. It's so confusing because if it was at the direction of the president and the president agreed to pay it back from his own money, then it's a perfectly lawful, legitimate aspect of this. So I don't get why the Justice Department felt the need to add at the direction of the president. It put them in a catch-22. If it's at the direction of the president, then it's a campaign contribution from the president, which is perfectly lawful. All that was required was reporting, and the reporting would have happened after the election. So no harm, no foul here. I just don't get it. I've been teaching criminal law for over 50 years, and you just have to show me where the crime is. And I agree with my distinguished colleague that if you get two different agencies of the government disagreeing, you can't have criminal action. You know, Thomas Jefferson once said a criminal statute must be so clear that the average person can understand it while running. I can't even understand these statutes while sitting. How can you make them a basis for a criminal charge or an impeachable offense?
Last word, Andy.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I would just add to that, Sean, that what I'm disappointed about is the government and the Southern District of New York in particular usually goes out of its way to avoid naming an accused person until they're actually ready to put their money where their mouth is and formally accuse them under circumstances where they have all the due process protections that pertain to that. To go out of your way to name someone under these circumstances, it's just something I don't understand why they'd want to go out of bounds like that.
You know, I complained when they did that to Richard Nixon years and years ago. You don't name people as unindicted co-conspirators and give them no opportunity to respond in the court of law.
They never claimed Michael Cohen was part of a conspiracy.
No.
They didn't claim that.
No, because it'd be very hard to find a conspiracy here. It would be a conspiracy not to register. That doesn't seem like much of a conspiracy. It's a real stretch.
All right, good to see you both. Thank you. When we come back, the great one, Mark Levin, weighs in on this and more straight ahead.